Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host, Mr. Brian Sparks.
All right, Brian with the hang time. Welcome to the rocket ship.
I think my primary care physician would think that this show is good for me, right? Like, because it exercises the lungs in a way that you just normally do.
I don't know if there was a stress relief moment. Yeah, I thought that's where you're going with that.
I don't know. It feels good.
Yeah.
I think everybody should yell out your name a couple of times a week. Like, if you're feeling stressed at work or whatever, just be like, Brian Sparks!
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll roll that out in some sort of campaign or something.
I also want to bring your attention, Brian, and I tried to point this out to you earlier, but I got some new artwork on the wall.
I think it looks fantastic.
Oh, do you? Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, of course, that's for the people on YouTube to see right now.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So if you're not following, go ahead, Brian, do your thing.
Speaking of which, if you're on YouTube, you may as well hit that subscribe button right now. Those numbers are climbing
exponentially.
Incredibly, like frustratingly slow. I want people to subscribe. I don't know what your problem is, but stop it. Knock it out. Hit the subscribe button right now.
Jump on the bandwagon.
Right, because you're going to want to see the show. You're going to want to give your friends the heads up. You're going to want to tell people. They're going to tell two friends. They're going to tell two friends, and so on.
Yeah.
And so on. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
Now back to
except that if you're listening on Apple podcasts, then go ahead and hit the follow button.
Or go over to the YouTube channel and you can check out the new artwork.
The new artwork.
Yeah. So good job. You got the microphone and the SVI.
I think it's cool. I'm
proud.
Personally I'm proud and I really like it and I think it shows, beautifully. So
I love the little spark between Brian Sparks because that's off my LinkedIn.
That's your brand.
Well done. Well done.
I literally stole it from your LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I got the very one.
Okay.
All right, what you been up to, Brian? Anything we need to talk about?
Well, I want to see how's your foot doing.
Whatever, I don't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about it?
I broke my foot, as everybody maybe knows from last week, and it's just really frustrating, Brian, because you can't do anything. And I'm somebody, right? We just talked about this. That I'm somebody who likes to be outdoors doing stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I do a lot of things, and now I'm doing nothing, and I'm a grumpy ass bitch. And I don't, even hardly want to talk about it.
I didn't even notice, Brian. So
you didn't even notice?
That's how you dip it in sauce.
All right. So anyway, what about you?
So I'm super excited. We talked a little bit last week about, or maybe it was the week before, about my lack of knowledge in the agentic space.
Oh yeah, this is something you're really happy and focused on.
I am. I'm loving being vulnerable about this. I don't know much about it. It kind of goes over my head, even though I try to swim in that pool.
Yeah.
So I created an agent, and it's helping me out, help me understand the world a little bit better, help me do some things. I think I'm rolling out a few calendar invites with it at this point, but nonetheless, I'm well on my way.
Does your agent have a name? Did you name your agent?
Yeah, I did. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome. I didn't even know.
Its name is Cyrus.
Cyrus. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay, got it.
That's actually my dad's middle name.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I got an email from Cyrus, and I was like, "Who the hell is this?" Or a text message or something, right? I was like, "What is Cyrus?"
If you get some if you get a crank call from Cyrus,
code name,
yeah. Prank call. All right, let's move on.
All right, we're moving on.
Enough shenanigans. All right, but once again, last week to get involved with the IIT 2026 conference, which will be rolling out this week when the show airs. If you want to learn more, join us down in Long Beach. You can go to iit2026.org. My good friend AJ Thomas and myself will be co-hosting that amazing event. So come join us. We have some workshops put on by NVIDIA and some go-to-market workshops, some golf, a lot of fun stuff. Great lineup of speakers, a lot of stuff happening.
Excellent.
All right.
Sounds like fun.
All right. With that being said, I want to welcome everybody officially to Silicon Valley Impact. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. That man on the mic and with the wounded foot is the good man, Brian Bernasconi. Yes.
Oh, it's funny that they applaud for me and not for you.
The purpose of this show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own. All right, Brian,
Yes,
we have
sir.
a full house today.
Yeah, indeed.
We got three great faces, three great people.
Wondering if we're ever going to get around to it.
they're like, thanks for coming to the show, guys. Thanks for being here. All right, but I want to bring them in. I'm going to start. Well, we got Naeem, Ryan, Stephanie. Good to see you all today.
Good to see you.
Yeah, coming in from all over the world. Yeah, we're going to have fun today. So, in true Silicon Valley Impact fashion, as you all know, I don't do bios. So, Naeem, I'll start with you. What are you working on? Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm, in addition to teaching at entrepreneurship at UC Berkeley, I'm coaching startup CEOs because having been there 5 times, having knocked around on the boards of many companies, it's time to share the wisdom.
Nice.
So that's what I'm focused on.
That's what you're passionate about. But you have a long history in the startup space.
7 startups, 5-time CEO, multiple exits, technology you use every day. We created it like the fingerprint sensor on your Mac or your iPhone. We created it, 28 patents.
This little
Apple
gem
bought
right
it.
here.
Yeah, that's it. That was we. And the other mobile security software, how do you log in and look at SharePoint from your phone using 2-factor authentication? Oracle bought that.
You've been a busy man.
Yeah, but I'm old.
You've had a lot of fun. Have you had a lot of fun
A lot of fun.
All right, so we'll dive into all of that. But Ryan, I feel like we've become fast friends. We met, a week ago at a dinner.
Less than a week. It was Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday?
You beat the 7-day timeline, yeah.
Yeah, and the quickest man to be on the show in history, yeah. So good to see you. Glad you could be here. First time in studio and a podcast?
First time in studio, yeah.
How are we doing so far?
So far, so good. I'm not sure what triggers the voice effects or the noise effects there.
Brian is in control.
I'm on edge. At any moment they can start.
They're there. All right, well, he'll try not to give you PTSD from the show. All right, Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on.
Yeah, I'm working on investing. I'm an investor at Antler. We're one of the largest pre-seed platforms in the world. We have 27 offices globally, over 1,600 portfolio companies, and we are looking for the greatest founders at day 0, as we call it. So at the moment of conception of the idea, there's no such thing as too early for Antler, and I spend my days talking to founders, looking for new founders, and seeing how I can help founders, and I love doing it.
Okay, and we got a lot to share on that topic here, Silicon Valley Impact. So we'll definitely ask you a few questions, softball questions that I know our audience are ready for. Stephanie, I think you've come from one of the farthest places in the world. No, not maybe the farthest, but one of them. But sometimes it can feel
most exotic, maybe.
Yeah. Canada.
Canada, yeah, exactly.
We love Canada. You know what? We miss Canada.
Such a mysterious place.
All right, Steph, tell us a little bit about what you're working on and give your intro. And let me say this, you guys didn't do this, but give your name. Make sure you give your full name so people can look you up.
Stephanie El-Chakieh. I'm a pharmacist by trade in Montreal, and I'm working on a startup, which is a clinical intelligence software for supplements, how to offer alternative options to patients.
Nice. Okay. Is this your first startup?
Second
startup. And Brian, we have a connection to Canada because our original co-host, Lisa Helfrich.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our good friend Lisa Helfrich, she's from Canada, and so we want to say hi to her. But
I thought you were going to mention this one.
I deserve to be here, and I'm worthy of being here.
Mercedes, yeah.
Mercedes is actually our youngest.
But she was also in Canada.
Speaker. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
So she was an entrepreneur. Was she 16?
Oh, God, she was amazing. We should have her back.
Yeah.
We should check in with her.
Yeah.
Let's get her back on the show, please.
We will. But we have great guests today, Brian. So.
It's the truth. Facts.
All right. So let's dive into this because, again, between all of you, I feel like we're going to have insight saturation with what you've all been working on. But Naeem, I want to start with you. You're in the consulting space now, and you've brought that your wealth of knowledge and experience into helping CEOs do better. Where does it all begin for you when you're engaging CEOs? What was some of those life lessons that you bring to helping startups and CEOs thrive?
So first of all, I'm not in consulting space. I'm in coaching space.
Coaching space.
Coaching space. Consulting is doing stuff for people. Consulting is to teach them how to fish so they can become the best version of themselves. So when I became a CEO, I had a coach because you want to up your game. Who do you talk to? You can't really talk to your board. I mean, you can, but you're sowing seeds which will not sprout well. So you need some mentor. You need somebody who's willing to listen to you and up your game, from give you frameworks to excel on, give you how to tackle complex problems. A CEO makes dozens of decisions every week. Not all of them are correct or perfect or even optimal. So you need a sounding board. So that's the role I play. For me, having been on 12 boards, having been CEO multiple times, I bring a lot of perspective. Then I took 2 years course on coaching from my coach, Brian, another Brian, so Brian Franklin. So that's how I find a lot of joy in that, because I can share the wisdom and I can see any problem from different angles, and I can add value.
What do you think the biggest, and by the way, you knew Ryan before you got in here, so it's a small world. I like that. So we'll talk about that in a second. But what do you think is the biggest barrier, or let me start here. Why do you think a CEO or a founder needs a coach, and why don't more have them?
So the question is, LeBron James has a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. It's not about not knowing how to play the game. The question is, can you see yourself playing? Can you up the game? So sometimes it's not that we're giving them what to do. We're shining this flashlight on a solution sitting right behind them, but they were so focused looking forward. I don't know if you've driven fast ever, car.
Me, no.
Because you would know when you go over 120 miles an hour, your field of view narrows.
Yeah.
At 150, you can only see about 20 degrees in front. At 165, you literally cannot see anything around you. I've experienced it. So this is exactly how founders are. When you're going fast, your field of view narrows. You cannot see what's about to hit you. So a coach brings that perspective.
Nice. And you bring multiple perspectives. I mean, like you said, you have multiple startups as well. You are also on the investor side. Is that right?
Yeah. 30-year investments.
And so you kind of give them, depending on the stage that you're helping them. And when do you help them? What stage? Early stage?
All stages.
All stages.
Yeah, because the problem changes. But the interesting thing is, about 80% of the problems are people problem. It's not about their domain. They're not hiring me for their domain expertise. Problems are people, co-founders, investors, board members, customers. So how do you break down how humans operate? How do you understand what they're doing? There are parts of you, Brian, I can say, who wants to quit. Parts of you wants to double down and work hard. Parts of you hates this job. Parts of you loves this job. All those parts are there. You can't silence them. How do you resolve among them so you could have a productive and effective life? That's something which I also bring to the conversations with our CEOs.
So know what you're good at, know what you're not good at, know what you love, know what you hate. It's really having a full awareness of your own character and mindset. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's more than that, because it's not that it's not what you're good at or not good at. Same day, in the morning, you're falling apart. You couldn't be more excited by 2 p.m. and by 4 o'clock you think you screwed it up. All happens the same day. So parts of you are fighting with each other. So how do you bring that resolution among parts of you so you can be productive and not be bogged down? So this is a little bit internal conflicts as well as how to get shit done.
I like that. It reminds me a lot of the Virginia Satir model. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Where they talk about it's family dynamics. There's parts of you that I could geek out about that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But Ryan, you are also kind of in the coaching space because you get involved with these startups. What are you seeing? I mean, I love what Naeem's talking about. Chime in on this. What do you see in the early stages of the company that let you think that this is a fundable company? Is it begin with the team and the people, or is there something else? What are some of those dynamics you see early on?
Absolutely. And I think on the coaching, the other word I've used to describe it and heard it described as is therapy, right? And it's the ability to have someone who's going to listen to you, listen to what you're debating, and even just help you talk through it.
Yeah.
You don't need domain expertise for that, but you need to be a good listener. You need to have some history of success and failure and be able to talk to those things. And I think it's really helpful for founders of all stages, I'm sure you'd agree with as well, just to be able to talk is sometimes all that's needed.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, as far as what do we look for, what stands out, I think you need to have an exceptional founder. To Naeem's point, there's going to be failures potentially daily. Hopefully there's more wins than failures. There's going to be the need to rally a team around you, and you kind of have to be a person who is comfortable doing that people gravitate towards that customers gravitate towards, that investors gravitate towards. And then when it comes to building a venture scale business, you need to find an idea, or at least have the path to an idea that will return venture scale. And so there's a lot of folks out there building really cool things, really interesting products. You need to be able to tell a story of how that product is the wedge to a larger platform or a larger product base or a more complicated product line, but something that's going to turn into a generational company. I think especially with where we invest at Antler at the earliest stages, we need to see a lot of upside in those companies. And so we need to see companies that are going to grow dramatically compared to where we find them. And the founders grow with them. I'd be interested to hear your story, but I think it's also too, when you guys were talking, the difference between a founder and a CEO. Sometimes they're the same person, sometimes they're different, but I think there's a mental switch you have to make there at a certain stage as your company gets big enough.
Yeah, I definitely want to ask. That was actually the top of mind question I had for Naeem as he was talking, but I wanted to check in with you guys what was top of mind for you. And when I kind of come back to the beginning, I want to ask you all, what got you into this? Like, what was your call? What was that calling? What pulled you in? But before we do that, Stephanie, chime in on this. We're kind of talking about what is required of startups. Well, you're in it for the second time. What has it pulled out of you from day to day? Does this resonate with what Naeem's saying? That in the morning you're gung ho. By afternoon you're questioning yourself, and then at the end of the day it's like, did I do it right? Do you go through those phases?
They're less loud than they used to be. So I do have a coach who's not in business per se, but just that helps me see the things that I don't see. I think that's different from the previous startup that I've built. Yeah. For me, it's the journey. It's like it's me who has to be confronted with myself on a daily basis more than the other people. Like, what do I have to change to get that person to perform better? What am I doing? I'm constantly looking at my behavior and what I'm doing within the journey.
Yeah. And of course, before our break, which we'll take in not anytime soon, but probably the next 20 minutes, I definitely want to hear your 1 minute pitch. And then of course, I'd definitely like to hear you guys' feedback. But the next question I have for you guys is, what pulled you into this? Naeem, I'll start with you. I mean, you've got so much wisdom in this. Did you grow up in the family of entrepreneurs, or did you just see something in the world that needed to be fixed and go after it, or is it kind of like all the above?
None of the above.
None of the above. Okay. Fill in the blank.
So, well, it's embarrassing and stupid, but since you asked. No, I was an electrical engineer by training and working with a big company, Honeywell, at Research Center in Minneapolis. So the highest ranking guy I ever met in my life was the head of that research institute, Roger Heinisch, U.S. Marine, 6'4", PhD. He was the vice president of research. So he was running the shop. So I always aspired to be Roger someday. So when 3 other people came to me 5 years into my journey, they said, hey, we're starting a company. We want somebody to design the machine. Can you design it? My only question was, can I be a vice president? They said, sure. I was in. That was my reason. I never know how to spell entrepreneurship. But the fact is, when I designed the machine, we built the company, we sold the company, I realized that I can cast a much larger shadow being in a startup company, and that gave me the bug. Then I came to Silicon Valley and joined a 10% startup company, QuickTurn, which went public. Today, every single complex chip design uses that technology for chip design verification. It's bought by Cadence. It's worth about $9 billion today, $9.6 billion.
Well, in the first one, real quick, how old were you in the first one when they asked you to?
25.
25, and then the second one, subsequently,
you was 28.
28. So very quickly, you learned what it was like to launch and grow a business.
Yeah, and the fact is that you're touching the customer. You're actually, what you do directly, you can see the impact, which you couldn't see in a large company. Mm-hmm. So that was the trigger point for me that this is interesting life. It's not about, it wasn't thinking about some big exit and making big money. So like what I do is actually can be touched, felt, and I can see where it goes. That motivates me. And I think ask Ryan, he'll agree that most entrepreneurs start with something like this. It's not about the money, because you don't make most money anyway. That'd be a miracle if you did, but it's the journey which is worthwhile.
I love it. So Ryan, same question.
Yeah.
What pulled you into this, and where did it all begin for you?
No, it's a great question. I think I'll give it a 2-part answer. Mm-hmm. Why I got into venture originally was to solve my own problem. I had worked for a startup previously. We had tried to raise strategic funding. we were building hardware products. So venture funding is hard to come by in that world. And so let's go find our customers. Let's go find partners that we can bring in and raise that strategic fund. We had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know how to pitch. We didn't know how to present ourselves. We didn't know what story to tell. And we fell on our faces pretty hard. And coming into venture, I saw that as an opportunity to see what the other side of the table
Where were you based at the time?
I was in Philadelphia.
You were in Philadelphia.
So that too, I mean, I think I didn't realize how important geography was to part of it, but the venture system out there is, from a maturity standpoint, from a capital standpoint, from a friendliness standpoint, is totally different.
Really?
Much more favorable out here, in my personal opinion. But yeah, so I wanted to see what the other side saw. And then why I've stayed in venture, and I think what I've really learned to love about it is I think it's the most interesting job in the world. I think I get to talk to founders all day, like yourselves, and figure out what makes you tick, what fires you up, why you're excited to work on what you're working on. And it's a privilege to be able to do that. And I think it's just a great job.
So what happened to the company?
They're still going. We signed some big contracts while I was still there that we are working on. And then they've gotten a couple different product lines built out. So we're still making the same hardware devices, trying a couple new applications. Still in touch with those guys, but still kind of building in the scrappy stage of it all.
Okay. So you were on the founding team. You sold?
Not on the founding team. I was the fourth employee there.
Okay.
So I joined early on, and they had built kind of the initial MVPs of each version of our product. And then while I was there, it was about taking it to market.
Yeah.
So talking to customers, finding those first enterprise deals, putting out deployments on random bridges in the place where our lab was, just to try to get data. All the kind of hacky stuff you do at the early stages.
Okay. And again, with your experience, and of course, Naeem and Stephanie have the same question for you. What is it about what you're doing, what you were doing then, what you're doing now? And it may change, but what is it that you do that you love most about kind of playing in this sandbox?
Yeah. For me, it was the same thing what you said. Every day you get to talk to some of the smartest people in the world, and they're educating you. That's priceless.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's fantastic to learn from. And I think you get to, it's a small part, right? As an investor, I think we may overplay it, but we play a small part in that process. And it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. Great. Stephanie, how did it all start for you? Like, I mean, again, second company. Did you grow up in the family? Did you see a problem that you just had to solve? Or is it none of the above? How did you get pulled into building?
I didn't know I was going to build. It kind of came. First startup was more business. This one was more personal. So it started, I'm a pharmacist by trade, have a master's degree in advanced pharmacotherapy, worked in 17 hospitals, did a bunch of stuff. I did my functional medicine certification in the US. And I had personal challenges on a healthcare standpoint, and my patients too. And it's like, what do we do then? So you see 8 doctors, nothing works. So I dived into research. I've done 6 years of research trying to figure things out. My social media blew up a little bit, started having clients one-on-one. I've had patients with schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, burnouts. I was getting off the meds. I was helping them get back to work, and it was working. So I've dived into building a clinical intelligence software. So really automating the thinking and the process behind it to offer this to other healthcare providers so that they can offer it to other patients. So basically, I'm building something that I wish I would have received in my life journey.
I often say, so Naeem, I've done a little teaching myself, in case you didn't know that. And I've been asked by students, I mean, I've taught at Foothill, West Valley. I even had the honor of teaching a couple times at Stanford. And I would say more speaking. I don't want to put that on. I spoke a few times at Stanford, and I've been asked a few times, what is kind of the foundation or the beginning of, entrepreneurship? And I said, startup and entrepreneurship is built on pain. There's a problem that needs to be solved, and somebody with the passion and identifies with that pain jumps in and solves it themselves. Now, tons of great ideas all over the world, don't get me wrong, but I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't start there. It starts with identifying the problem.
Absolutely. That is the first thing. You see something which is done inefficiently or not done well, and you're itching to solve it. Can it be done better? That's the motivation, the driver behind every founder that I know of. It sometimes is personal, like Steph said, and that's even deeper. So one other thing which Ryan probably does the same thing, we'll hear from him, that when I'm investing in a company, I want to find out what's driving this founder. What's the underlying thing? What's the reason? And one of the best reason is chip on your shoulder. You're trying to prove to your father you're better than him? Excellent. Love that, because that will drive you deep in heart.
Yeah.
I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Yeah. It's on the founder resume. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy issues.
Yeah, totally.
So we all have the chip on the shoulder. But whatever the reason is, you want to prove it, you want to climb out of some hole to make some. So that's the reason. What drives the founder is one of the main thing, because the journey is hard. Unless something is driving you, you'll likely give up. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things we like to understand.
That's amazing. And so, Brian, we're going to, I hear knocking on the door. I think the ad ferry is getting ready to come in. When we come back.
I'm ready if you are.
Yeah. And when we come back, we're going to hear Stephanie's pitch, and then we're going to talk about, what she's building. We're going to talk a little bit more about why we love doing this. And then we're also going to unpack. I got 2 questions. One for Ryan, what is a fundable company? And Naeem, you can answer on that one too. But also, I'm very curious about the transition from founder to CEO as a company scales. I think that's important. So Brian, go ahead and open that door. Oh, there it is.
So once again, I just want to say thank you to Moralis HR for sponsoring the show. They're an amazing partner for us. Our values are aligned well with them. And of course, we want to tell everybody how great they are. They're a human-centered recruiting and executive search firm for today's business demands. And really, mostly what I can say about Moralis HR is they're delivering curated and high-quality talent when it matters most. And this is the important part. This is what I really want to drive home.
Drive it home.
This is Moralis HR. They do full-time, they do part-time. They help you avoid fake resumes and fake candidates. If you're falling behind in hiring or you have any hiring needs whatsoever, you are going to want to reach out to Moralis HR. That's moralishr.com. And that, as they say, is that.
It is. All right. Well done. We love Shelley.
Indeed.
Thank you, Shelley, for supporting the show. All right. So before our ad ferry flew through the room, definitely interested in what you're building, Stephanie. So give us a little elevator pitch, 1 to 2 minutes on what you're
Are you doing those?
whatever it takes, right? Let us know what you're working on so that we can start chatting about it.
I was going to give her a little background music.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Does that help hype? Is that like your walk-on music? Here we go.
She's not going to rap it, Brian. Okay.
I just figured she needed a little support, a little hype, like here she is, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, right? Like, here we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
So WellVerve is a science-based personalized wellness where we help healthcare providers provide the solutions for their patients who have where they don't get better with medication, they have adverse effects, it's not working out. What else do they do? There's no guideline that exists currently. So this is what we offer healthcare providers so that they could provide this to their patients. The recommendations are mainly supplements, very precise supplements, and we ship them to the patient too. So we've built the infrastructure for the providers. They just have to validate, it's shipped, and then we follow up with the patient. That's something very important for us. Currently have a first clinic who signed up with us, and I'm working on a $10 million deal to get this going as well.
Nice. Okay. And there you go, Brian. 1 minute.
Yeah, it was great. I'm curious, is there a website that we can look at to?
WellVerve.com.
Brian pulls it up on
one more time, please.
WellVerve.com. WellVerve.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to just show it on the screen here
Yeah,
for a minute.
so
You guys continue on.
For those of you on YouTube, you can take a look at the website as Brian pulls it up.
Yeah. Give me
All right. So we talked a little bit about what pulled you in. Mm-hmm. What are you doing differently in this startup that you didn't do in the first one? Was there some learning curves?
Everything.
It's never the same game, right?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's the same game in terms of fundraising, the process, hiring, and finding the people, but I am completely a different human than who I was when I was building the other startup. Mm-hmm. So that changed.
And who is your ideal customer?
Healthcare providers or electronic medical record systems.
Okay. All right. So Ryan and Naeem, if you have a couple questions, I definitely want those who are listening to the show to kind of get a feel of questions after pitches. So if you have one top of mind, for Stephanie, or if there would be a question that the startups that are listening to the show right now would hear, what is one of your go-to questions when you hear a initial pitch?
So for me, what I would have advised Stephanie is to be a little bit more precise. I want to hear two things in the first opening. What problem are you solving, and who has this problem? So the way she described it is what she does. What she does is useful, but that's the second or third conversation, because I can't get my head around the problem she's solving. So I don't know what she does exactly, but let me just try my version of it. Mm-hmm. To say most healthcare providers have a problem. They see many patients, and yeah, they have taking prescription medicine, but what else can help them recover? What supplement, what nutrients? There's so many. It's very confusing. We take them through a process so they can recommend precise dosage, precise supplements, which can help you on the road to recovery, unlike anything they have seen before. Mm-hmm. And we have traction, we have clinics signed up, and we are making tremendous progress. Some version of that. I just made this up because
I appreciate this. Yeah. I like it. Thanks.
And I can use a personal story. I'll be radically vulnerable. I don't care what people think.
I'm down. Let's hear it.
So I think I've shared on the show before, I've shared with close friends that I'm being looked at being pre-diabetic. And it's like shocking because I'm pretty active, despite what I told you earlier, Naeem. I'm pretty active. And they asked me when I went to my initial interview is, how do you feel about medication? I said, I'm a little medication resistant. Is there another alternative, better eating? And so if they would have given me, well, we have a supplement program, I would have been a little bit more receptive. So, I mean, I can see that. So has that been kind of in your marketing and an approach to getting this in people's hands?
In terms of doctors?
In terms of, just the messaging.
Yeah, they have no idea. That's how the doctor told me. He's like, I have so many clients who don't get better with depression. I don't know what to do, so I'll just ship them to you.
Or I mean, that's their pain point, but from a customer, from the patient's perspective, I want to avoid medications. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Right, Ryan, I'll toss it over to you.
When is the team just you? I think that's where I'd start.
I just hired a technology person to bring it to production.
How'd you guys meet? What brought them on? I think
I put it on it was a referral from a Montreal CTO group. Interviewed, got 2 references, and we connected on values.
Very cool.
So,
and then I think when looking at a company like yours, obviously the team I think is the most important thing at these stages, and you want to know that co-founder, and I'd love to meet that co-founder if we're going through a diligence process. I think the other thing I'd love to hear, and what I always like to ask founders, is sometimes around what surprised them. This is actually something I got from Uday. He always loves asking that question, but a mutual friend of ours. Yeah. But what surprised you the most about building your first startup? What surprised you the most about going back in and trying it again?
The narrow mind, as I think you mentioned, because what I thought was a direction is not the direction I'm taking now. It flipped 20 times until what I'm doing now. So I think that surprises me in terms of how narrow we could think. And the more we evolve and the more we test and speak with people, the more we learn the direction we need to take.
What was that discovery process like when you were kind of, you'd identified the problem, looking for how to form a solution? What was that discovery process like?
Wow, hard.
Where'd you start?
Where did I start? With me? Because I was a patient too. I was a healthcare provider. I am a healthcare provider and a patient, so I understand both pains. And I still have patients. I still have one-on-one. I do run a little concierge service for the one-on-one patients, so I'm still learning from them what they like, how to bring the process onto technology. But it's an ongoing process. You just pitch, you hear, you take feedback. You're like, oh, that's not the right direction. Try something else, and it's just like a journey.
You were building, obviously, it sounds like a good business at the base case, right? Of this kind of services, maybe consulting style business. Why go make it a product? Why go through the headache of building a company?
Scale, and I want to impact more people. And I think it's doable. I've always wanted to automate. My first business was also into automation. Okay. I always think there's ways to automate. It was something that frustrated me from working in hospitals because you have to go through 10 ladders to fix one thing that you just have to change. So that lack of efficacy annoys me, and efficiency.
Was there a moment for you where you said, hey, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go put a name to this company. I'm going to go out and look for this funding or look for these customers?
It kind of came organically.
Very cool.
It started with why one-on-one, and I'm like, okay, then I've created a questionnaire, which is the automation process of my process came with time, with my clients, with my patients, with the follow-ups, with the learning, with the data, with all that.
Where do you make a bulk of your money? Is it in the supplement sales? Is it in the automation? Is it where does the primary business model lie?
The data.
In the data.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah.
That's everybody's answer these days, isn't it?
But it's that's where the business lies mainly.
And okay.
Because the data is going to help discover new medication as well.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I got to ask the next question for both of you. And Stephanie, you can chime in on this and what you've heard in your journeys. But Ryan, since you have the mic right now, or Naeem, you can chime in. What primarily in an early stage company, from your view, makes a fundable company? You said the team is big, and then of course an idea that really knows what the pain point is. What are some other things you look for early stage fundable company?
The team, obviously, and that means a lot of things, but I think the team is always where you start. The idea, the scalability, the idea. I think if I had to add one more to that list, and I think it's ever more present now, is distribution. Do you know your customers? Do you know their pain points? Have you validated this problem is bigger than yourself, which sounds like you have. And I think there's folks out there that can do the research, maybe find a pain point, but will get stalled once they have to go distribute it to more people than maybe their inner network. And do you have the access?
Double click on that. Yeah. They'll get stalled. Like how?
If you're selling a enterprise security product and your next best move is just to spam everyone you can on LinkedIn, that may work. But it's going to be a slower kind of uphill battle. And you want to find those battles where you're kind of going downhill. And not that that's, you can't raise or build a company that way, but I think it shows that you may not know what the real problem is. You may not be in those rooms where that problem is being discussed. Or you may not have enough access to go sell it. And at the end of the day, even as good as the idea might be, as unique as the technology might be, you still need to distribute it.
Yeah, so there's really a underlying founder fit theme there at that point. Yeah,
absolutely.
Naeem, same question, and of course I'm going to have my follow-up question of what I mentioned before the ad fairy came through the room. What is a fundable company in your eyes? And then if a company does well, how do you help a founder grow into a CEO?
No, two good questions. So let's start with the first one. So my question is, have they found a white space? So white space is to able to identify there's a segment of the market which is not happy with the alternatives they have, and understanding why are they not happy. If we can identify that, then you have some insight because of your background, because if you connected some dots, you say, I can fill that white space in a way it's not been done today. That is the gist. So this captures several things: market sizing, market segmentation, is identifying the customer and the pain, all that one word, white space. So if they can articulate the white space they found, now it turns out, do we have the right resources and team to able to add value? So that's the next stage. That's the team that Ryan talked about. So once those things are check, now we are serious. Then this other question, three other questions will be asked. Business model, does that make sense? The unit economics, is it worth scaling? And then go to market strategy. Do they know how to get the traction? So those three are second tier questions. First tier is, have they found a white space? Do they have the wherewithal to add value?
Oh, that's good. I'm definitely going to go back through the show and pick that out and weave it together with what you were saying with the team. Do they have that ability to see it? So to the next question, they check all the boxes. They start to grow. They get a little traction. Their go-to-market strategy is working. Now the founder is becoming responsible for more. There's a big hiccup when it goes from founder to CEO and scaling. Yep. What are some insights that you can provide us with becoming a CEO?
So that's a very hard transition for most, because all the things which made you a good founder, you have deep insight of customer knowledge, you were able to put together a solution, that's less of an issue. As a CEO, you have to get used to certain realities which you never anticipated, such as no one will ever like you again. which is hard to swallow. It's not because you're a bad person, you're the same person, but it's a positional power. You'll be invited to all the parties. Party starts when CEO leaves the room. It's hard to get used to that. So I can elaborate to that, but let me finish the question. So then your job is mostly selling. You're selling idea to future employees. You're selling to investors. All the things which you were good at, you only get to start doing after dinner. So all the day you're fighting all kinds of problems which are really you were not even good at. Mm-hmm. But that's what CEO needs to do, because so this transition that what I'm really good at versus, for example, what are the most important things a CEO has to learn to say? His most important job is to say no. Most CEOs don't realize that. They want to be liked. They want to run a democracy. You're not running a democracy. You're driving consensus. That has a nuance to it. How do you drive consensus? You want to talk to people. You want to make them feel heard. You may still get to decide, but you're building a consensus, and not everybody may agree. You want to be a cheerleader. That's not your job to be a cheerleader. Your job is to articulate a clear direction and then get out of the way so people can achieve it. Mm-hmm. I can go on, but let me stop here.
I love that. And then there's another piece that you wanted to come back to. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Yeah.
I want you to go ahead and close that loop.
So I think the thing is, there's something changes which you were not anticipating. That, like nobody will ever like you again. Mm-hmm. It's not that you're a different person, but you are the CEO and you get to say no. And that's your job. So most people who used to just come up to you and now they can't get their way. And they blame you. And you have to... So who do you talk to? Not to them. So then you talk to your board, but then after you ask too many times to the board says, well, what do I need you for if I'm really adding all the value? Mm-hmm. The second point of not liking you would be, nobody will ever tell you the truth. They will tell you the truth, but it'll be hidden between a bunch of messages. You have to become really good at asking questions and reading between the line. Most of us are not.
Do they want the truth? Are they looking for people who will just challenge them?
Can they handle the truth?
Can they handle it? Yeah.
Most cannot, but they do need to be told because they are the captain of the ship. So captain of the ship needs to know what's going on. If something the engine is not up performing or something else, the iceberg is visible, then it needs to be told. He or she needs to be told. So this thing about are you good at detecting the truth in between the lines? And that's art, which has to be learned.
I love that. That's so good. Go ahead.
No, I mean, these are masterclass moments. We really appreciate the insight. Seriously, I rarely in this room, in this studio, have I felt everybody leaned in and everything so quiet and everybody hanging on the next word.
Yeah,
those are some valuable insights, and I want to say thank you. And Brian, I want to just take a little bit of a pause. Are you ready?
I'm ready for this.
Okay, great. And you'll know where to pick up when we come back.
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure. All right. Well, I want to, again, remind everybody, there are a lot of people who make this show possible. One of those people, Stack Ventures. Good friend, Colin Baring with Baring Capital. Stack Ventures is transforming real estate into a full-stack ecosystem solution for the East Bay residency and global startups, backed by Baring Capital. Located in the heart of Uptown Oakland at 1900 Broadway and 1950 Franklin, Stack Space has three now, towers with over 1.5 million square feet of a luxury living, event space, resort-style amenities, EV mobility, office space, and access to one of the biggest startup communities in the Bay Area. Check out stackspace.com. That's STAK, stackspace.com. All right.
For those of you who don't know, I just want to say, Stack is an amazing, it really is an amazing environment.
Yeah.
I mean, all levels, all floors, all aspects, everything, all facets of it are just astounding and really top notch.
Yeah. And we have a new program that we're going to be announcing as well for our VC community and our startup community. We're going to look to be investing over $1 million in infrastructure investments for startups. So I'll be sharing that in the future.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Okay. All right. So back to this great conversation. We've got three amazing guests here unpacking the startup ecosystems from multiple perspectives. And so we've covered a lot. Now I'm kind of looking to all you guys today. And we're covering a lot, and we're talking to our audience, our other VCs, founders, subject matter experts. I always love to ask the question, if I came up to any one of you and said, hey, that's the audience, we're going to be doing a TED Talk, and I have a spot for you. It's the TEDx startup, we'll call it, right? Or Silicon Valley Impact X.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what would be your topic? And it doesn't have to be in startup. It could be anything. It could be basket weaving. It could be building relationships. It could be, M&A. It could be investing. What would be your favorite topic to talk about? Stephanie, I'm going to start with you.
Wait, I'm thinking.
Okay. You're thinking, who's got a topic? Okay. You got a couple minutes to choose your topic and go on stage. You don't have a couple minutes now, but if you were going to do the TED Talk, what would you do?
Obviously, we can talk about various aspects of entrepreneurship and how to raise money and all that. Mm-hmm. But I will rather talk about geopolitics, how to make sense of this world. How do you interpret what's happening? Because to understand what's happening, you have to understand what happened. Because then you can connect the dots to project what may happen. So able to have that perspective is very useful for entrepreneurs because that's how you spot opportunities. Mm-hmm. And for example, just to give one example, people don't realize the world population will start to shrink.
Already shrinking.
Already shrinking in Western world, not in Africa yet. It will peak at the 11.2 billion and will start declining after that. You need 2.1 births per couple to maintain it. And Japan is at 1.2. Korea and South Korea and China is below 1. And Europe as a whole is 1.6. So what does that mean? So we can talk about why it happened, but what it means is physical AI, robots. There'll be as many robots as human in the world by 2045.
Wow.
Oh.
So that creates all kinds of dynamics, opportunities and whatnot. So this is the understanding geopolitics, able to project, unveils layers of opportunities and give you a sense of what the world is shaped. Mm-hmm. So I talk about this subject quite a bit, but that will be my favorite subject.
Okay, I love that. Okay, I got so many questions.
You just blew my mind.
Brian. All right. Ryan, what would be your topic?
Oh, man. I'm going to give a very non-Silicon Valley answer, if that's all right.
No, it could be anything.
My guilty pleasure is college football. I love college football.
Yeah.
That is my Saturdays in the fall. That is my... It's not very VC of me. It is time that I dedicate to that. I'm a Notre Dame football fan. I always have been. That is my drug of choice.
So I'm curious, what's your TED Talk angle on college football? Just the pleasures of indulgence?
So here, I'll connect it to a TED Talk. I would start with the college football angle, and I think it's a conversation around protecting something. I think when you come to the VC space, when you come to the founder space especially, but any job out here even, you are going to have demands on your time 24/7. Mm-hmm. I always joke about if I want to go out to dinner and get pitched by startups every night of the week, here I could. Yeah. You need to protect something. It shouldn't be 5 hours, or it shouldn't be, it can be 5 hours, but it shouldn't be your entire weekend shot. Mm-hmm. But try to protect something, try to stay human even as you work on your company. And I think that investment actually does pay off, not only for you as a person, but as you become a CEO and maybe not a founder, your job is storytelling. Your job is connecting with people. And I think you need to have very human parts of you and what you're interested in to be able to do that connection.
I love that. I immediately, in my mind's eye, when you said my TED Talk is college football, I immediately thought how important it's been to me because I grew up in sports, playing it. Dad was involved. And two things came to mind: community, like your team, your family, your friends, the fans. It just brings and there's been so many stories about coming together with sports. And the other thing is just competition. Some of the greatest, founders, some of the greatest employees and those who lead are ex-military and athletes because they know the discipline. They know the importance of a plan. They know the importance of a team. And those character qualities, I think, are important in a founder.
Absolutely.
I also think, to Ryan's point, the idea that you're going to strategically create and defend a pocket from which a quarterback has time to read the field and execute a play would be a good connection for you.
There's a lot of trust. I think I'll add that as far as like what makes a startup investable.
Yeah.
I will always double check any application with a student athlete or something similar,
Mm-hmm.
or a military veteran or something along those lines, just because you know there's a baseline there
Yeah.
of a team player, works well, works hard. Obviously, again, not telling anyone you shouldn't work hard, but there's a trust there that I think those people have.
Totally agree. That's good.
And just to connect this dot with another dot, when I think of agile product development, what happened? Agile product development is all about assessing the field. I think of a football huddle. When you go to the huddle, you're reading the defense and you change the play. And that's very much applied to how we build products.
Sure. I mean, even the audible.
The audible.
absolutely.
Right?
Stephanie was talking about that earlier.
There's going to come a point where you're like, well, we're changing all this right now.
Yeah.
Huddle up.
No huddle.
No huddle.
On
No,
the
we're
line.
just changing it on the fly.
On the fly. Stephanie was talking about that earlier with how
Totally.
many times you
Yeah.
pivoted, right?
There's a pivot coming. Let's
Yeah.
go.
All right. You set us off, Ryan. Good
Sorry
job.
about that.
All right. Stephanie.
Mine would be the courage to ask questions and to question how things are and the status quo, and have the courage to ask your doctor if there's other things and not just necessarily follow what things are supposed to be. And
Now, when you say the courage to ask questions, because I got something. Is
Yeah.
it to almost like there's two things that I'm hearing. It's to challenge authority, like, okay, you're the doctor, I can just fall in line and do what you say. But you can challenge the status quo. And then the other thing is, in communication, there always needs to be the devil's advocate who stress tests the idea in the room. Is that kind of like what you're speaking towards somewhere
stress
in between?
test or deeper understanding?
Well,
It kind of goes both ways. I would
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Because questions gets you to a depth where, without that understanding, maybe you wouldn't have to play the devil's advocate and kind
Yeah.
of try to figure things out.
That's a good one, because you and I were talking that before the show started, Naeem. Because you're still learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have this curious mind. He said he's got class, I think tonight or in the next few days.
Every Tuesday for the last 1 year.
Class of what?
Well, this one is about history of USA, but I've
Okay.
taken class of history of Renaissance, history of ancient Greece, history of Victorian England. So this is a professor who retired from Stanford and teaches that. It's 3 quarters, 2.5 hours every week, in person or Zoom. So yeah, that's serious learning. At my age, I'm still learning. Like
Yeah, the teacher is still the student.
One of my most memorable courses in college was the history of California,
Yeah.
which I know is not a deep, long history, but it's fascinating. History is fascinating, and it's too bad young people don't get it.
Yeah.
Can I ask my question to Stephanie? I got a 2-part question.
Yeah.
To your TED Talk, Stephanie, ask questions. And I know that in healthcare, I'm a holistic person. I like to approach things more holistically. And I got to go in and I get my HMO or whatever, and they're telling me, do this. And if you don't ask, they won't present options a lot of the time. They'll just give you the one prescribed option. And if you start probing and digging a little deeper, they'll say, oh, yeah, well, there's that and the other idea and possibility. And they'll start to open that up. But my question for you is that on your on your business, it seems like the biggest obstacle you face is convincing the healthcare system, at least in the United States, to care about alternate options and alternative medicines or more holistic approach, because they seem to be really enamored and committed to the pharmaceutical route every single time.
I think I'll go back to asking questions for a deeper understanding, because if you understand the medical, legal, how a healthcare provider has to operate, then you could understand them and you could approach it in a way where they would understand it too, if that makes sense.
Because they have a playbook, right?
They have a playbook, and I was there, so I understand that if I don't follow guidelines, then I could face different things, and if it doesn't work for my patient, how do I make sure that it's safe? So they have strict guidelines to follow, and if you understand that, then you know how to approach it to align with their train of thoughts.
And you can, I mean, to Brian's point and to our conversations here, you can kind of push past that as a patient, or no, you're kind of stuck as a clinician to run the next play, so to speak? Or could I push past, like, hey, is there an option? Can I go a different route? And
You could always, it's always patient first. And that's pretty much everywhere in the world. The patient should be the one deciding what you could decide whether you take the medication or not. You cannot go to the pharmacy. At the end of the day, you're the decision maker. So you can have that, but I think a doctor could refer you at least to someone that they trust, which is a lack in the system at this point.
Yeah, I love the conversation around what you're bringing to the table. And go ahead.
Can I bring one more thing? Because question, I think you have to, this is hard because I also question the holistic part. I'm not the person who's going to say everyone should take vitamin D or omega-3s and that's it and you'll be good. I questioned that as well. I had a patient who was bleeding from too much omega-3s. So having that critical mind on both ends is extremely important. That's what brings trust also to the healthcare providers, where I have a structure that would allow them to feel safe in providing these kind of tools.
Okay. I'd say the other obstacle is social media seems to want to prescribe all kinds of cures and remedies for all kinds of ailments.
Marketing.
It's astounding how much bad advice you can get on social.
Sometimes it's good. I wouldn't be completely against it, but
the layperson doesn't know the difference.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my patients, because they come to me and they're like, hey, I want to try peptides. I'm like, which one? There's 100. And I had a patient who had cancer from it. Like, what? Okay, I'll step back. So bringing that awareness to them kind of makes them understand that there's marketing at play. And how do you distinguish marketing versus something that's aligned to you?
Yeah. Well, great talks, everybody. I loved it. That was great options. So with a few minutes left in the show, I have to ask this question. It was brought up a few times during our conversation of go-to-market. I love the strategic thinking of go-to-market. I kind of want to just open up that box for a second and go-to-market strategy. Now, you've all seen companies, and you want to see your company thrive. You want to see them go-to-market effectively. Obviously, having a founder fit, having empathy for the market, knowing different cultures, because in the U.S., the supplement market is huge. Now, is the supplement market huge in another country? I don't know. But what strategies have you seen in your experience that you can kind of distill down into the first rule of thought when it comes to effective go-to-market that founders should know more about? I mean, we started with the empathy, founder fit, but beyond that, what have you seen to be effective?
So let me speak about B2B because I have more of a deeper understanding of that. A founder, CEO has to be able to differentiate between tire kickers and people who have their hair on fire. Most people can't tell the difference. They get all excited. Oh, I got a meeting with Chase Manhattan Bank. That'll be great. Excellent. Goldman Sachs. Yay.
The logo droppers, yeah.
But the fact is, they are curious. They have no hair on fire situation. Nobody will be stupid enough to start a project with a 3-person startup company unless they had a hair on fire. So over the years, I've learned to look for that. So my first customer in last company, one before last company, Bitser Mobile, was Chevron. And I said, have you ever done business with this startup company? They say, no. I said, why are you talking to us? A question which you're afraid to ask. They say, well, we talk to everybody in the field. They don't even understand the question, let alone give an answer. You guys are at least pretending to have an answer. Mm-hmm. So because they had a mandate from the board, it was basically somebody at the board meeting brought an iPad. He got it from his granddaughter or something. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to access the board material on the iPad, and they couldn't. They said, we don't allow that. It's two-factor authentication. They said, fix it by the next board meeting. So they were under pressure to figure out how can you connect from an iOS device with X.509 certificate and LDAP to access information. And we figured out a way to do it. So this is the key differentiator, go-to-market. Figure out, are they tire kickers? Do they really have hair on fire? That will save you a lot of headache.
You mean, and from the market's perspective, is their hair on fire?
Or potential customers hair on fire. Why are they talking to you?
Yeah.
See, the thing is, when you first, if you're dating, somebody talks to you, you get all excited. Everybody does. Question is why? Why is she talking to you? You're almost afraid to ask that question. But as a B2B founder, you better ask that question and have a good clarity. Otherwise, you may end up wasting a lot of time.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. Okay. Ryan, same question. Again, come at it from any perspective, but again, go to market can sometimes be a big bottleneck for someone who can start to show traction.
Yeah, I think the common term that I'm hearing nowadays for that is where's the pull? Everyone's pushing a product. You're pushing a sale, you're pushing a solution. Where are people pulling for yours? And I think the way to find that is you'll see founders kind of start with what I would consider like consensus problems. AI's too unwieldy, too undeterministic. Product management is hard. My inbox is too cluttered. And you can start with those problems, but then understanding and trying to find what you really need is one or two believers that can become partners for you, that can teach you their workflows, their process, their needs. And then you can understand where those pulls are. And I think starting with a perspective on an industry or a problem is great. I think you need to find one or two believers that can really coach you as a customer. And then you take that case study. I think his name's George Mack. He's a Substack author that I follow, but he describes companies as case study factories. And your goal is to create a case study, maybe one or two, and then sell that case study over and over again. And I think there's a lot of folks that try to write the case study without ever talking to anyone first. And then once they think they have it, immediately go into volume of, hey, I want to sell 1,000 of these. I'd prefer that you sell 2 or 3 really good ones, get that process down, cycle through with them, and then try to expand as you feel the market kind of pull you into it.
Yeah. And there's with every case study is a story.
Yeah.
And with every story, people could see themselves in that story, and you can kind of have that ripple effect. Oh, I like that. This is good stuff. Stephanie?
I think that's what happened to me when I pivoted. It's a different energy when you change the direction and then you get the pull. Then you're like, that's what it feels like. Okay, that's where I have to go. So that's what happened when the second I changed, the clinic was like, yes. I'm like, okay. Data, that's a good direction. What's next? That we're going to learn a bunch with that clinic to see how the process goes, and then but it's, I understand the pull and push rather than trying to push something just because you think it's best. Try to listen and ask the questions to them so you could align.
I like that wordplay of pull, because that's where empathy comes in. If I can kind of connect the dots there, is pushing is I need to sell this. Pull is no, I understand what you need at a certain level, that this will naturally be a great fit. And when you can identify that, I think that is really the springboard to a successful go-to-market strategy. So again, we have a few minutes left. I like asking 2 final questions. One, how can people connect with you? But most importantly, what's next for you? We talked a lot about insights of your past, your present, but 2026, 2027, or and beyond, what's next for you? Who likes to go first? I don't want to put anyone on the spot.
Well, while others are thinking of more profound answers, I want to think about how can I take what I've learned in life and create a bigger impact. And my answer, not popular in my family, is to reduce the recidivism rate. People go to prison and they come out, the only thing they're good at, what? The crime they committed. So they do it again. Can you teach people skills, how to make a living, so they could come out and possibly not commit the same crime? Well, the easiest business to start in the world, probably with less than $100, is you set up an online shop and sell things you picked up at the estate sales. Go around there, all kind of nuggets, come out, polish it on Shopify, whatever, start selling interesting stuff. And less than $100 to set up this business. But somebody has to be taught how to do it. I think I can do it. I have all the knowledge and the tools, and this can have a big impact around the world. So I'm hallucinating about that.
I like that. Okay. All right. Back to the basics. The forever teacher. I love this. Ryan. And of course, Naeem, how can people connect with you?
It's nzafar@gmail or naeemzafar.com. NaeemZafar.
You're not very active on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn, yeah. But LinkedIn needs a better tagging mechanism. I have 15,000 first level connection. I can't remember 15,000 people. So yeah, do that too.
Yeah. You're kind of old school. You're like me. You like the phone call.
Yeah, I like the phone call.
And yeah, I love it. And the email. Now the email is old school. All right, Ryan, same question. What's next for you?
So what's next for me is I think I have. It's to get some winners. I think I'm still young in the venture game. I think that it is a game of large winners and a lot of losers. Being an Antler, being able to partner with these founders so early and bring them into residency and work with them and have them lean on us and the other founders that we bring around. It's invigorating, but it's got to work. And so I think what's next for me is trying to be as helpful as I can in as many ways as I can to make sure those founders succeed. And hopefully be able to share in even a very, very small part of that. So just fired up to get some winners.
And how can people connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Ryan Green at Antler, or my email, ryan.green@antler.co, not com, co.
I asked that question. Yeah,
you're not the only one. Yeah.
I love it. All right, Stephanie.
What's next for me? Improve my pitch. Thank you.
You'll be talking after the show. Yeah.
Improve my pitch, grow and get this going. So it's more of a creation year. And where you can find me, Stephanie at WellVerve.com, LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm active too. So
wonderful. All right, Brian, I think we covered a lot of ground today.
We did. Good show.
Yeah, good show. Thank you, buddy.
No, thank you.
All right, and I want to thank all our guests for being here today. I want to thank everybody who listened out in Silicon Valley and beyond in the world. Thank you for being a part of the show. And if you do want to be a part of the show, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and give me an email. I'll put it in the show notes. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you.